As we know, ran through Northwest Ohio this past Wednesday, but what could be a major factor moving forward? 3 debates, one of which will take place this Wednesday out at the University of Denver. And 13 ABC has you covered with our Washington Bureau Chief, Jacqueline Policastro, really putting in a lot of miles this week and in the weeks ahead to bring you the best coverage here locally and from a national perspective. Jacqueline, thanks for being on the program. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Lee.
First off, let's run down the Romney-Ryan Bus Tour. You're just back in Washington after the week that was here in Northwest Ohio and throughout the state of Ohio on the Romney-Ryan bus. Give me your perspective. We're going to talk to London Mitchell and Tom Troy, our Take 3 crew, about the tone of the campaign. The polls show that Mitt Romney's got some catching up to do. What was your sense on that bus with the candidates and the campaign advisors?
Well, Lee, I hit 3 different days and 6 cities in that amount of time. And one of the things that struck me the most is when this bus tour rolls through these small communities through Ohio, you see some of these people coming out onto their porches, sometimes still in their pajamas with these signs. There is a lot of passion for the Romney campaign in certain parts of the state. What they're trying to figure out now is how do they translate that passion into votes? Because I'll be honest, at every single one of these stops, there were also protesters there as well. But the Romney campaign definitely is trying to take this margin in the, that you see in the polls and shrink it and say, hey, it's not really that big, and you can see that based on when we come out there to campaign, all the support we can get. So I can attest that there was a lot of that positive support, but Mitt Romney definitely needs to become sort of more likable for these voters. A lot of the things that they told me they wanted to hear from him weren't the big issues about the economy and you know, where the jobs are. They feel like they know where he stands there. They just don't feel like they know him yet. That's the big challenge. What's
the sense that you get from his team? What was the mood, the tone? Because those poll numbers, and we'll talk to Tom in London about that, anywhere from 5 to 10 points, they're down. Now, some will say, hey, they don't believe the polls. But what was the mood there? Is it truly that, hey, we've got a lot of catching up to do here?
Well, you know what, Lee? You heard Mitt Romney and his advisors say, hey, these polls don't matter that much. They're going to change so much between now and Election Day. The one thing that I want to point out is they might not be as wide as they seem. They might not be those 10 points. They might be smaller, but they're still important. If Ohio wasn't so close, the president wouldn't have also been there at the same time that Mitt Romney was campaigning. So both of these campaigns know how important, of course, Ohio is, and they're not taking it for granted. So it's hard to say, because it's true that, you know, polls have gotten us into trouble in the past, looking at them too closely anyway. But of course, the Romney campaign is going to say, hey, you know what, we're paying attention, but this is not what's driving our campaign. And that's the message that I got. Although the organization on the campaign trail, you know, maybe it could have been a little bit better, and there's been a lot of talk about that in the past few weeks. But it seems like Mitt Romney is not stepping down from saying, this is my campaign, I like the way it's being run, and I'm going to move forward with it the way it is.
Yeah, and I talked to a number of advisors who said they really believe the numbers are closer to 4 points or 5 points, and that can be made up in one debate. And you'll be there.
Absolutely.
You'll be there on Wednesday night. What can we expect from your perspective on how you're going to cover it? And then does Mitt Romney need to hit a home run?
Mitt Romney definitely needs this debate, yes. He needs to become more likable, what I was saying. That's what the voters that I talked to were telling me. Both campaigns right now are managing expectations for this debate, and it's a little bit more surprising coming from President Obama's campaign than it is from Mitt Romney's. His top advisors said to me, hey, you know what, he's never really done anything quite like this, so we're preparing, but we're not that worried about it. Of course they are. These are big debates, and there's going to be millions of people watching, and it's going to be hard for them to stay focus on their message while, you know, not spending a lot of time sort of in that back and forth, because when voters have talked to us about what they like to see out of these debates, they want to see the issues. They want to know, you know, where these candidates stand. They don't really want to see that bickering back and forth, and it is off-putting sometimes.
Yeah, when we look at what will happen in Denver, it's interesting that already Mitt Romney's campaign had said, yeah, we can expect the president will win this debate because he's a great speaker, and in the same way on the other end. So really, they're trying to lower expectations when, in essence, they both need to win.
Absolutely. They both do need to win. This is a close race, despite some of those polls that show the larger gap. And it's clear by what you just mentioned that both those campaigns are saying the same thing. When that comes from the president, someone that we know is such a good speaker and a pretty good debater as well. And then you see Mitt Romney, who did well in the primary debates, but he's just saying this isn't my forte, so bear with me here, is that message. We have seen a few gaffes from him, though, in the past. The big debate, though, that everyone's talking about is, of course, that vice presidential debate, because let's face it, we all know that the vice president sometimes has a hard time keeping his mouth shut, and we haven't really seen Paul Ryan in any sort of form, anything like this. And he is younger and has less experience, so even though the next debate is in Denver, the one that everyone's talking about already is still that vice presidential debate, which will be in Danville, Kentucky. We'll be there as well.
Yeah, we're going to be there, and it's interesting, Jacqueline Pola-Castro unplugged per se here on Conklin and Company. What can we expect? I understand that you're going to be going to these debates and putting together a show of your own for our viewers here and in other places to watch. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm really excited about this show. It's called The Washington Insider, and the main goal, what I'm trying to do here is to be able to give voters and people out there, especially in these swing states, an opportunity to see what the candidates are doing, and then enough information behind that to give them what they need before they head to the polls. So it's basically going to be a mixture of what's happening on the campaign trail and these decision makers in Washington and what their analysis is of all of this, because sometimes we all know it's tough to get behind that rhetoric, and we just want voters to have as much information as they can before they head to the polls.
Lawmakers are out campaigning right now, those trying to win re-election. So Washington kind of quiet at this time as you come back from the bus tour and the hullabaloo that is the state of Ohio right now. Tell us about Washington and the pulse of our nation's capital.
It is more than quiet. I actually just came from Capitol Hill. There's literally no one inside the building right now. And while, we expect that during campaign season, I can tell you, as someone that covers Congress, that it is it's a little bit frustrating, basically. It is a big deal that there isn't anything happening here because there are so many issues that were left on the table, so many things that still need to get done. But hey, this is the reality of the way our political system is designed and how it works. And we expect this whole lame duck presidency, and we're just hoping that Congress is able to hit the ground running and take care of some of these very important issues, especially the ones that deal with the economy. Right now, Lee, it's quiet.
But it will be crazy again. So enjoy that solitude for
yes.
just a day or so. Have a safe flight out to Denver. We will talk to you then. We'll look forward to your reports right here on 13 ABC Action News. Thank you, Jacqueline. And we will continue here on Conklin and Company. Take 3. Tom Troy from The Blade, London Mitchell from Cumulus Radio will join us. We'll break down those events from this past Wednesday at Bowling Green State University.